Hello, Primary 7. Hope everything is well. My name is Setumba Erisa, a teacher of science. I'm going to take you through some topic that we have handled previously, electricity. So in our previous lessons, we learned a little more about electricity, but today in our lesson, we are going to look at conductors of electricity. Let everyone say conductors of electricity. Thank you. Conductors of electricity. These are electric materials that allow electricity to flow through them. Sometimes we say to pass through them. These are materials that allow electricity to flow through them. Examples of conductors of electricity, we have materials, but we also have specific metals that allow electricity to pass through them. Specific metals include iron. All materials that are made out of iron can conduct electricity, but iron as a metal conducts electricity. Copper, silver, tin, and tungsten. Children say tungsten. Tungsten. Tungsten is another material which we have looked at as one of the metals that is used to make the filament in a bulb. Later on in our next lessons, we are going to see the filament in a bulb. That coiled element in a bulb is called a filament. Tungsten is the mineral that is commonly used for making these filaments. So these are the metals that allow electricity to pass through them or to flow through them. Other materials, when you look at these materials, dear children, you'll find that they are spoons which are made of silver. But this time, I'm talking of materials. Materials through which electricity can flow. Spoons. And I know we have spoons at home. So I would advise that your spoons should not get in touch with electric wires or electric sockets because they can conduct electricity. Electricity flows into your hands and you can be killed. We say you are electrocuted. We say you are electrocuted. So spoons, pair of compasses. There are those compasses in our geometry sets. Some of you use them to fix telephone chargers into sockets. Daddy says, please put my phone on charge, and the simplest material you have around you is a compass. A pair of compasses, you fix it into electricity, and then you can as well be electrocuted because it conducts electricity. Razor blades, they are very common. They also conduct electricity. Water, electricity can flow through water. Carbon, when we were looking at a dry cell, we saw some part of a dry cell that we named as the carbon rod. Carbon rod. So it is a non-metallic conductor of electricity. Carbon is not metallic. Carbon is not a metal, but it is a non-metallic conductor of electricity. So if in one of the examinations I bring a question that name one non-metallic conductor of electricity, I would love everybody to give me the answer. Carbon. Thank you very much. Acids and wet wood. These are some of the few examples I've given as materials that allow electricity to flow through them. So wet wood, if you got a wet stick, a stick from a branch of a tree, and you use it also to fix in the electric socket, you can be electrocuted because it allows electricity to flow through it. We have silver. We have mentioned that silver is a good conductor of electricity. But we don't commonly use silver simply because silver is very expensive and silver is rare. To find a spoon made of silver, it is only in my home that you can find it. We don't have it in many homes, but definitely silver is very expensive. That is why we commonly use copper and aluminium. Copper and aluminium. Most of the saucepans in your homes are made out of aluminium, because these are fairly, the prices are fairly low, unlike silver. Dear children, we also need to look at pure water. Pure water, which we call distilled water. Water that is obtained out of distillation. You remember the method one time we learned that you get water, seal it in a closed container, direct a pipe from the container into cold water, and then condensation takes place, and you collect some distillate, what we call the distillate. So that kind of water is called distilled water. Distilled water does not conduct electricity because it contains no minerals. Distilled water or pure water contains no mineral, and that is why in wood, wet wood contains a mineral, and that is why it can conduct electricity. Dry wood contains no mineral, so it does not conduct electricity. So distilled water or pure water does not conduct electricity because it contains no mineral. In the next examination one time, I will still bring that. Give a reason why distilled water does not conduct electricity. Some of you have given the answers. Very good. Distilled water does not conduct electricity because it contains no mineral. As we come to the end, we also want to look at those other materials that do not allow electricity to pass through them. Such materials are called insulators. Children, you are going to say insulators. Thank you very much for those who have said insulators. Insulators are materials that do not allow electricity to flow through them. I have again used the word flow. That do not allow electricity to flow through them. Examples of insulators, we have rubber. All material that is made out of rubber does not allow electricity to flow through them, through it. Plastic. All materials that are made out of plastic do not allow electricity to flow through them. Dry wood, I mentioned earlier, does not allow electricity to flow through it. Dry paper, air, dry cloth, and porcelain. Children, you are going to say porcelain. Porcelain. Thank you. I'm going to talk a little more about porcelain, but these dry do not allow electricity to flow through them because they may not contain any mineral. But if you soak a piece of cloth into water and then it gets in touch with live electric wires, they can conduct electricity if they are wet. Then porcelain is a coating or a material that is made out of clay. Okay, now let's think about clay. Since it is made out of clay, let's think in terms of clay. So there are some materials that are made out of clay. There are some plates, there are some cups which are made out of clay. So that material out of clay that is sometimes shining or glittering does not allow electricity to pass through it. Lastly, the importance of insulators. How are insulators important to us? Insulators prevent electric shock. For instance, if you put on gloves, which material makes gloves? Rubber. That is rubber. So some gloves are made of cloth, as someone has said. Some gloves are made of rubber, and these do not allow electricity to flow through them. So when you put on an insulator and you cover your hands, you are protected from electric shock. Lastly, insulators prevent short circuits. Circuits. Circuit. A circuit. Not circuit. Some people say circuit. Circuit. A short circuit is the next lesson that we are going to look at. So we are going to explain when electricity takes another path. When instead of passing through a systematic system, it takes a short path of electricity is a short circuit. Electricity jams and it can even destroy property. So in our next lesson, we are going to look at short circuits, and I want to thank you so much for being good audience. We have some activity on page 26.